You don't suck at doing your makeup, you just haven't watched one of my tutorials. My name is Chanel Sorrells. I'm a celebrity makeup artist based in Los Angeles, and I'm gonna show you how to get this flawless summer baddie look. Skin prep is your number one. I don't want to hear it, even if you have oily skin. Today I prepped with the First Aid Beauty Radiance Pads to give me a nice smooth base, followed up with the Bubble Milky Toner and the Cocoa Kind Electrolyte Cream. These are both super affordable. And I always use an eye cream because it's gonna make our concealer just go on like chef's kiss. While our skin prep is soaking in, we're gonna get started on our eyes. This is gonna make it so much easier in case you have any fallout. Using a concealer that's close to my skin tone, not too bright, I'm gonna go right onto the lid. You don't wanna have that bright white streak under your eyebrow. I'm gonna take a powder puff and a little bit of powder and set my lid. We're gonna use one of my favorite palettes that's also affordable. This is the Morphe 18WT. Not enough people talk about this. I'm gonna take a shade here like this one that's close to my skin tone, and we're gonna use this as our brightening all over shade, all over my lid. Now taking a shade that's a little bit warmer, I'm gonna go right into my crease. This is gonna be our lightest transition, so I'm gonna use this shade right here. I'm gonna place this right into our crease and blend it over that brightening shade. The key for this is to have fluffy blending brushes that do all the work for you. Even if I put on a lot of pigment, the fluffy brush is gonna blend and make everything look airbrushed. I'm going in back and forth windshield wiper motions and then pulling outwards towards the end of my eye. I'm using a tighter blending brush, so something that's a little bit smaller. I'm gonna go in with a shade that's a little darker than the one that we first used. I'm focusing this right on the outer corner and in the crease. And take your first blending brush and melt everything together and just keep blending until you're happy with the result. Then to really amp up the baddie, I like to add a sheer wash of a shimmer topper. And I love the Patrick Ta, but Morphe has came out with so many affordable shimmer topper options in their new palettes. I'm gonna take the gold shade and just put a light wash over my lids. Adding a shimmer topper is something that I love doing, especially on my clients, because it just gives you a little something. To clean up our eyeshadow, I want you to take the thinnest brush you have and a little bit of eye cream or even a little bit of gel moisturizer, and you're gonna take that brush, align it with the lower lash line, and just pull upwards. And that's literally gonna clean your eyeshadow so perfectly. A little pro trick that I do on all of my clients. Like so. Your base is the most important part of this routine. A baddie base is a flawless base, so don't skip any of these steps. Now that all of our skin prep is soaked in, you can go in with the primer. I sometimes don't use primer, but these are the ones that I like to use when I do. Apply this in your T-zone, only where you need it. You don't need to put primer all over your face. For that baddie base, you want to go in with a foundation that has just a little bit more coverage than your usual. We're not going for a skin tint vibe. You want your skin to look flawless and blurred and every imperfection covered. Now I want you to take your favorite foundation brush. If you don't have a foundation brush, use a sponge. But to get optimal coverage with your foundation, you want to use a brush and you want to apply and push into your skin. As you can see, the coverage is almost immediate. This is the House Labs foundation. Pro tip, when applying your foundation, try to avoid the under eye area because you don't want to build up too much product there and then have the concealer on top of foundation. It's just going to get a little cakey. Now we're going to go into our cream bronze, which is one of the most important parts, sculpting your face and adding that warmth. I love to use the Tenelle J bronzer in Mocha or the e.l.f. bronzer in medium. I'm going to use this e.l.f. one because it's so pigmented and a little bit goes a long way. Whatever cream or liquid bronzer you're using, the key thing is that you want it to blend easily. You don't want anything muddy. You want something that just kind of melts into your other products. The cheekbones, you always want to go a little higher than where they naturally are and push up as you're blending, so that way the cheekbones stay lifted. Look how it already transformed our face. For the baddie cheek, we're going to use two different pink shades. These two e.l.f. blushes in Pinky Promise and Coming in Hot Pink. We're going to place the lighter blush at the top of our cheekbone. I'm gonna take the more vibrant one and I'm gonna be very careful and apply it right on the apple. I want you to start at the highest point of your cheek and start to blend and push this in. So I'm pulling it up here towards our temple and then bringing it down just slightly so it goes under the eye. This is the e.l.f. Stain and Tint brush and it's become one of my new favorites for blush. I just wanna add a little bit more of this hot pink. And I'm gonna focus this a little lower. I applied it closer to the bronzer because I like it to be gradient. So going from the darkest blush to the lightest. How gorgeous does that look? Anyone who's ever sat in my glam chair knows I do not play about my base. And now we conceal. I start with the shade that's closest to my skin tone and focus this on the inner corner just to make everything nice and even. blend into the blush. Don't forget your forehead, just to bring a little bit of brightness there, and your chin. Now's the time where I'll take a sponge and just melt everything together. Focus my bright shade on the inner corner once again, but only keeping it there. Just to pull that brightness forward. Optional step, you can also take a super thin brush and go right along the edge of your eyeshadow and make it really clean. Again, we blend. And trying to keep it right where I placed it. I'm not bringing it down too much. Go in with your sponge and make sure everything is blended because we're about to set. But can we just take a moment for this flawless buttery base? Using a more translucent skin tone shade first. This is Huda Pound Cake, and I'm gonna use this to set everything using a puff forever and always. Making sure the powder's in a nice even layer. And I'm just gonna begin to set all over, okay? Do not be scared of this. Now, if you have dry skin, you can literally just set under your eyes and in your T-zone and keep everything else a little glowy, setting it down so it looks airbrushed. Kind of like that. We're set down, but it's not super matte. I just made sure to set all the places that were important. Taking a little bit of a pink powder to really make the blush pop, tapping off any excess. And I'm just applying this right under the eye. I'm not baking, I'm pressing this in. Now we're gonna go in with our powder bronzer. I get a lot of questions, why are we using creams and powders? This is gonna lock in the makeup. It's gonna add to the longevity and the vibrance of the colors that we put down. And this is bringing it all back to life, pulling it forward. I also always take the bronzer and put it right into the eyeshadow. Same with the cream blush. I'm gonna use 2 tones of blush. If you don't have this Morphe blush brush, you're missing out. It's one of the best. It's literally their M202 brush, and it is perfect for my blush technique. It's flat and it has a pointed tip, so you can really bring it under the eye like that. Taking our darker pink shade, saturate your brush with it. I'm gonna focus this right under that lighter pink. Always take a little bit and put it on the forehead, on the chin, and on the nose. And if you feel like you put too much, take a powder puff with a little bit of powder and just place it right under that cheekbone and brush away. Optional step, use a pink brightening powder under the eyes just to add to that a little bit more. I usually use the Kosas Cotton Candy one, but I can't find it anywhere. I'm gonna take one of the darker bronzy shades and I'm gonna run this on my lower lash line. Now we're gonna melt our powders in. I'm gonna use the One Size powder melting spray, but any setting spray you have will do. Lower mascara, a little bit more shimmer if we lost any. Using the Huda Beauty lip stain in the shade Warm Brown. That's what made the look so pretty. Then I just put Juicy Peach right over it, the lip oil, and this is the final look. Summer Baddie.